Hello music listeners and underground enthusiasts, it's me, Mel, back with another installation of the weekly series that I have not done for the past 2 weeks. Hi guys, didn't realize how fucking tired I sounded on this one. My fault. You know what, sometimes things just get by you, and it got by me. But we're back, we're better than ever, but we're back with a new batch of songs fresh off the press that I think are worth listening to. I'm gonna tell you why I think they're worth listening to, and then hey, maybe, at the end of the day when you're done with this video, you'll listen to them. Let's go. Kicking off the week, we have a new song from Corefish, his first in 4 months after the release of his sophomore album, Kite. It is called Freak. It's real freak hours right now. Kite was poppy, sweet, and pretty exhilarating. I got a lot out of it as a pop record, so naturally I've been excited to see where Corefish ends up next, and Freak doesn't really disappoint at all. The intro production feels pretty inspired by the more plucky and flute-oriented music of like the Zelda series. It's whimsical, it has this sort of curious sound that honestly ends up being pretty cute. It's jovial and lighthearted, but it also doesn't really stumble into the territory of being like cheesy or overtly sappy in that regard, so props to Corefish for being able to delicately walk that line. The rest of the production has a pretty slick shine to it that I've come to expect from Corefish. An almost bit-crushed bassy synth sort of rattles the mix of the song, while everything else remains clean to an almost sterilized point. Because Corefish's vocals are pristine and layered beautifully with some carefully format-shifted background vocals, and the resulting sound is super full and very engaging. I love how bright the song is. I love Corefish's writing. His writing and production only feel more focused as he continues to push out songs, and if you haven't quite got on board with the underground wave of poptimism that's going on right now, this might be the song to convince you. And then we have Simon M with Settle. Settle is equal parts nostalgia and modernity because the punchy and staccato guitar progression feels and screams early 2000s. It's saturated and blown out to a borderline overwhelming degree. I love it. And if that wasn't enough, the vocals are actually more harshly processed than the guitar, which becomes even more piercing when the lead is layered on top of the rhythm and everything just gets so sharp and bright and warm and intense. It's crazy. The harsh pitch correction, the jagged transition between notes, and the brass and saturation combine to produce a ridiculously noisy sound, and honestly, in that way, it's really charming. As I previously mentioned, the instrumentation is pretty nostalgic in its sound. I appreciate the aesthetics that it does borrow from maybe older songs in the genre, and the vocals just have so much personality and texture behind them, they're hard not to love. Even without the saturation and the heavy processing going on in the mix on the vocals, there is still bite in every line delivery, and even with that heavy processing, the dynamics of those vocals still break through. This song in its sound is uncompromising and apologetic, and it just makes it so damn fun. And then we have Black with Old Friends. A couple years back, I was pretty familiar with some of Black's work. Songs like Hellcat, Letters, and Punk were listened to semi-frequently. I know those are old. I haven't really kept up since then as much as I used to. And honestly, I think that after listening, I like this more than I remember liking those songs. In terms of style, delivery, and quality, I think it really does shine. These dusty snares and grimy kicks carrying along this very noir-sounding piano help make the song super dark and moody. Scottsker is fantastic when it comes to production. And Black's writing feels very focused and hard-hitting. It's got a pretty aggressive bite to it despite it being lyrically pretty dejected. It feels like this plead for help or attention towards his recent emotions, but also a bit angry in that regard. It's got a crisp mix, great personal writing, and a delivery that matches that vulnerability pretty well. I like this one a lot. Then we have AFtrr with Remedy. This shit is so pretty. AFtrr and DSI came together on this beat with one mission: make this shit as sparkly and cute as possible, and I think that they succeeded swimmingly. The cascading shimmer of melodies flowing in and out of the beat under these like whistling high-pitched background notes is about as bright as you can get in a song like this, and it's really works out in their favor because it's a very rich sound, most of it honestly being done by AFtrr's vocals, so heavily layered on top of one another. The background vocals really do sound great, and AFtrr's kind of relaxed tone in terms of singing fits the mood of the track a lot. It's intimate and personal, but it also kind of feels laid back and non-demanding, very smooth. The track is very lush and rich in texture, driven honestly just by how syrupy sweet it is. It sounds sweet, writing is equally sweet. I love this one. Up next was Clovehitch with Autochrome. Man, I love this song. The vivid imagery and sentimental writing is pretty gorgeous. It all feels very personal, getting a lot done with honestly not that many words. Clovehitch's vocals are gentle, sort of floating over these whining guitar chords, and the switch over to a saturated and warm angle later on in the song gives it a bit of an edge, and it sort of results in this proper cinematic feel. Clovehitch's music kind of feels like all of the good parts of a coming-of-age movie soundtrack with all of the fat cut out. The drawn-out, crooned background notes, the bounce of the instrumental, the delicate delivery of each word, it's all very pretty. I love the writing. I love how this song sounds. It's fantastic. Then we have Swaine with 15 minutes. Swaine's insistence to continue to refine his already clean sound into a crystal clear fusion of hip-hop and pop shows progress in this track. Eric Godlow's bassy rumble and sliding synth-oriented production is dark and moody, and Swaine's singing and rapping act as a testament not only to his progress and success, but also what is to be expected going forward. And it's delivered with such a smooth conviction that it's pretty easy to be invested in Swaine's success story. It feels focused and confident. Swaine's formula is refined and pretty seamless by this point. And I also really love these more twangy notes in the middle of the song. Swaine's singing, I think, is really great, and these notes specifically stand out a lot. They sound very confidently delivered, and his writing and rapping sounds fantastic. The flows sound really good. Everything is so smooth. This song is a banger. That's right. It's a bit of a banger. And to end out this week's list, we have Owen is Lost with Schema. Sometimes I truly do search the recesses of my mind, my lexicon, my knowledge of vocabulary words that I learned in elementary school, and I'm like, what word or phrase do I want to use to describe this song that feels the most adequate, that feels the most accurate? And although I can think of a lot of terms for this song, one word comes to mind: this song is cool. It has a super subtle energy and atmosphere to it, the foggy ambience and playful piano melodies barely breaking the delicate surface tension of the track, and even when the production breaks away from this hazy drone in forms of deep kicks or like these sharp clicking sounds, it never really separates itself from that initial ambience, so it stays withdrawn throughout. Which is cool because there's some really harsh metallic screeches and hits later in the song that feel like they should stand out completely. They feel like they should be jarring, but even in those parts of the track, they still in some way feel pretty reserved and withdrawn from any foreground that might exist. And this idea of everything kind of existing in the background of itself is further reinforced by Owen's vocals, which are tiny and they fall neatly into place with everything else kind of swirling, non-demandingly, very delicately in the background. It's a super easy track to get lost in, and like I said, it's just a cool track. It's cool. And that's going to do it for this week's list of songs. Sorry I missed the last 2 weeks. I have been playing Persona 3 Reload non-stop, been treating that shit like it's a full-time job, and didn't do anything else. I feel the need to say it again because I really am super just happy about it, super grateful. So thanks again for 1,000 subs. It means a lot. Up next is 1 billion subs is up next. That's the only other milestone that I care about hitting. So that's going to be all. Let me know what you thought about these songs. Did you love them? Did you hate them? Are you generally indifferent about them? I care about your opinion. Catch me in the next video where I get into meaningless arguments with the user bases of underground emo rapper subreddits. Bye.